All right, awesome. Welcome, welcome. Do you want to kick us off there, Bant?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, welcome to our monthly town halls to the future of support, and where we talk to you all things about ExtendlyOS, and the support services that we provide here, as well as some special announcements and milestones. So this is October 1st, 2025 town hall. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. All right, as always, we've got the following items on the agenda: a special announcement, ExtendlyOS feature overview, the month in review, managed content inside ExtendlyOS, and human rollover metrics as well. And thereafter, we'll open it up to Q&A. And if you haven't learned from the last few, give your questions to Charles. Otherwise, he's going to take the stage and ask all the questions on your behalf. Raise your hand. Don't be shy with your questions as well. Otherwise, we know Charles has plenty on all of us on behalf of all of us. All right, let's get going. Sorry, Charles, pulling your leg there. All right, a milestone we're excited to celebrate here. We've reached 600 reviews on our Google Business Profile that is publicly available, which is where our customers go, agency owners go, and talk about how awesome we are. If you are ever on the fence, feel free to go there, check us out. And I think we only have a handful of negative experiences that were highlighted there that are probably less than 10, 15 reviews, but the rest of them are all five-star reviews there that customers are raving about different team members, the experience they've had with the service and the company here. So thank you to everybody who participated and gave us that five-star review for us. We're excited to celebrate that. All right, and as always, we've got coaching calls throughout the week that are available. Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. The schedule's on the screen. Feel free to check that out. I don't know if you guys can hear the background. I've got a loud house going on right now. But excuse me if that's the case.
You're good, Bant.
Um, Fantastic. Kids are home from for fall breaks right now, so they're having a blast. Um, all right. So 4-day boot camp. Sorry, let me cover the 4-day boot camp that we have is specifically for anybody that's starting out new with HighLevel. It covers GHL 101 best practices and how to set things up, provides you insights on Extendly support and the ExtendlyOS software, how that works, helps you get set up on the SaaSpreneur Quick Start snapshots that we have available. And then the last day is generally question and answers for high-level snapshots, whatever the case may be, to help you get on the right track there. All right, and ideas portal. There's a lot of folks putting in effort and sharing their ideas, and we're constantly looking at this as well. But ideas.extendly.com. Anything you want to see from us, add to the software, to the services, whatever the case may be. If there's something that you feel that we can do better, and it's a new idea or a feature request that you would like for us to add, please jump onto ideas.extendly.com and add them there. Our team's always looking at that for inspiration to do what to do next and how to improve the service there for you all, folks. And the theme customizer has been out for a few months now. It's available to everybody for free. You don't have to pay anything to anybody. Extendly.com/theme. That's where you go to install the app inside your HighLevel, and then you're able to customize the look and feel of your HighLevel as you wish. Just a tool that we wanted to provide that you did not need to pay for. We don't feel that you need to subscribe to anything or pay for a charge to make your HighLevel look better from colors perspective. and design there. So that's available for free. Stop paying any of your subscriptions if you're paying any of them. Just go ahead and go to extendly.com/theme and download that directly from the Marketplace app inside HighLevel. All right,
Awesome,
some
awesome.
upcoming events. Zach, you wanna take these?
Yeah, for sure. So obviously, Level Up coming up shortly. We, as always, we'll do a pre-level up event. Will be a workshop. We will be training. We'll send information out shortly. This is, going to be definitely AI implementation focused. And what I will say is, there's secret bonus that we can't get into right now. We'd love to share right now, but I highly, highly suggest you guys join that workshop. It's we've been cooking up a pretty, I'll say a pretty phenomenal way for you guys to really grow, especially through AI implementation. Um, and we can't spill all the beans in this moment right now, but it's gonna be a couple bonuses for people that just attend the workshop next week, but also just for Level Up that'll be exclusive. Where we got a pretty bold offer on the way as well too. I'm probably just going to leave it there as a tease. I don't think we'll dive any deeper, but look
Yeah.
out for emails for attending that. Make sure you mark off October 8th, 1 p.m. That's Pacific time, sorry. That's a Wednesday next week. And then, of course, we have Level Up coming up October 14th to 17th. We'll be doing recaps, likely even during the event as well too. We'll send out some recap of events, but we'll definitely do a recap event afterwards. Keep an eye out for your emails on that one as well too. Do our very best. We'll do our very best to recap the stuff that we have. We have conversations that everyone has. We also have conversations directly with HighLevel as well too. To get some of the secret deets as well. We'll do our very best to make sure you guys are prepared for 2026 coming up. And I think that's everything, unless Zach or Bant, you have anything else to add to that?
The only thing I'd say is show up to that pre-level up offer reveal that we're doing. There's going to be some special, pretty darn cool bonuses there. It's Mark, it's 1 p.m. Pacific or 4 p.m. Eastern.
All right.
That's it. Let's go forward.
Perfect. There you go. PT's up there in real time on the fly. I love it. All right, perfect. I'll leave it. We'll turn it to you there, Zach.
Sounds good. Well, as you guys know, if you've been to these before, we do an ExtendlyOS month in review at each time during the town hall. So this is where we get to talk about the exciting things that we're doing on the ExtendlyOS front, which is the platform that we use, that we give to you, rather, for you to support your customers inside of HighLevel and do all of the awesome things that you need to be able to do to be a powerhouse agency. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. I have something exciting to announce. So we are now releasing Support AI v2. We've been talking about this for a while. We've been working on this for a long time. And I just want to set the stage a little bit before I get into some of the features here, specifically of the Support AI v2, because as many of you know, there's a lot of AI stuff happening in the world right now. And, a lot of folks are going and making chatbots and doing things like that, but very few are able to execute on it in the capacity where it's an actual enterprise level experience, right? Where people get the kind of support that they're needing. The support world right now is all trying to figure out AI, and I think that we've cracked the code, at least in the HighLevel world. So I'm really excited about that. I just wanted to give like a quick kind of like little summary of where we've come from. So I just did some napkin math here, and I think that probably realistically a conservative estimate is that we've dumped about 750,000 into getting the AI to where it is today. Just so you guys kind of understand the investment that Extendly's made into making the AI awesome for all of you. This goes, between development, AI architecture, the token spend for all the support, the platform expense, the staffing expense, etc. And we've been working on this new improvement for the last 2 years, with lots of micro improvements in between. So lots of time and money spent to get to where we are today. So um, with that said, let's look at some of the changes, and I'm going to let Christopher Kaler. By the way, if any of you don't know, Christopher used to manage our support department. So Christopher has a lot of experience in all of um, the real human conversations that happen behind every
Mhm.
single support interaction that our agents have with people. And he is now a product owner at Extendly, and so he's been managing a lot of the pieces that have been moving with support AI. And so I'm going to have Chris take it from here and talk about the improvements that we're seeing right now with the new AI.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Zach. So the first thing I want to bring to attention is just a general experience. So as you can see from the GIF on the screen, very smooth looking interface. There's areas where we can rate the chat as a whole. We can rate individual messages. And like Zach said, a lot of investment has gone into the architecture that goes on behind the scenes. So whenever a message hits the AI, there's a lot that starts firing off in the background. As these workflows are working, you'll notice that there is an indicator that pops up in the chat, and it lets the front end user that's experiencing this know that things are working in the background, very similar to what you see in like ChatGPT or any of these thinking models. So that gives the indication that things are actually happening as it's querying the knowledge base, it's analyzing the user intent, it's running through a lot of different policy checks to make sure that nothing is breaching any kind of policy, especially in terms of like white label and et cetera, like that. And it's generating a tailored response. One thing that I have noticed in testing this out myself and cross comparing the AI to real chats that are in our live chat archive is that the accuracy of these answers is really good. It's We've invested so much into the knowledge base, so our knowledge base is always 100% up to date with what HighLevel is actually doing in real time. HighLevel changes the user interface. They change where different links are located or access points are to get to certain places in the platform. As they do their changelog updates, and then so does our knowledge base. So everything that this AI gives as far as directions and steps is always going to be on par with what the platform itself is actually doing. So if you want to go ahead and move to the next slide, the next aspect is in the handoff. So as you can see in this GIF here, as soon as I ask to transfer to an agent, it analyzes what I'm asking to do, and then it immediately puts me into an agent. Now, before there was a friction point on our previous version of our AI that would have a step in between where the user would then have to click a button to connect with an agent. And a lot of times, due to styling issues with the widget of how the agency might have their widget styled, that button would be invisible. And in the support department, I've seen us where they were thinking they were unable to connect to an agent. Well, the button was there, it just was hidden. We've completely eliminated that aspect. Now, as soon as you ask to connect to an agent, you're right there to an agent. You can go ahead and move on to the next. And then there's as I mentioned a little bit earlier, the rating system. So this rating system goes directly to our team. It also feeds into the AI's programming overall in the background. And it lets us know exactly what issues are happening in triage, in detecting intent, if it's misaligning specific products and features to what the user is actually asking about, which helps us to overall improve the way that this thing steers itself in the background. So now we have the ability to rate individual messages. We have the ability to rate the chat as a whole, the whole experience, and whatever details you put in this box directly influences how we're able to develop and improve the AI over time. This is a really important feedback loop that will help us make sure that we're giving you the absolute best implementation of an AI chatbot for the HighLevel platform. Now you can go ahead and move on. And then the last thing, this is what I'm actually the most excited about, is how the AI can query our knowledge base. And this is where a lot of investment has gone into developing, is the ability to generate responses from real information inside of the knowledge base. Now, on the left, you can see general support queries. This is all mock data that I put into the knowledge base myself. These would be like specific business operation things that you might do within your agency, such as maybe you have templates that you give out to everyone and they need to go to a specific link to get access to these templates. A lot of times in the support department, we would get people coming in asking for very specific aspects to getting started with their account, accessing trainings, accessing templates, etc. Now what they can do is they can ask the AI, and the AI can go into your knowledge base and search into the custom categories and articles that you've created yourself, and then generate the answers off of your own knowledge. So you can put what you want inside of your knowledge base, and the AI will now be able to query that and answer for you. So as you can see on the right, I asked about certification programs and courses, and it generated an answer specifically from what I'd put into the knowledge base in this mock data article. And that's about all I have to detail. I'm open to answer any questions, though, if there's anything that's come up.
I'm just going to jump in and reiterate. I just want to jump in and reiterate this. This is obviously one of the largest features we've been getting since launching ExtendlyOS. The team has worked so hard on this. This is going to be a game changer for you guys, for being able to properly, you guys can now with confidence start adding content into your knowledge base, and the AI is going to be able to respond on it. Right? This could be content that's maybe directly related to stuff Extendly's already talked about. It could be new content. This is it's also the gateway to a lot more options as well too. But this is probably one of the more unique features that we've come out with, and we're really excited for it. Chris is talking about it in super humble way. He's been working really hard on it. The whole team's been working on it. I'm just saying, from everyone, whether it's a customer success team, support team, all their agency owners, this is probably gonna be one of our biggest feature launches that we have.
It really is not an understatement what Zach was saying related to the investment put into this. And if you wanted something of this quality implemented a la carte, you would be spending $10,000 or more to an AI agency to get something that's half as good, maybe.
And another feature that I want to point out here, just in case you guys didn't catch it, it's literally able to now query your custom articles that you add in to the knowledge base and provide that knowledge to your customers. So if you've got anything special going on, perhaps that's billing. How do I get a hold of billing, or how do I upgrade my plan, or a special feature that you have, or a third-party tool that you're utilizing, you're able to take that knowledge base, add in those articles into the ExtendlyOS knowledge base that you have access to, and now that bot is answering questions specific to your agency. If you want to provide particular SOPs to the bot, like for example, if somebody asks for ABC question, have them reach out XYZ department, you're able to have it do all of that, and it'll provide that answer just as accurately.
I really want to drive that point home, and I want to touch on what Mark asked here. I see, Sag, you said not limited on unpaid plans. As a baseline, the Extendly knowledge base, I think today contains over 1,500 articles. And then we like slice that, optimize it. So we're querying a large amount of data. Like this is designed to get high value content to the end user. It's not going to be limited. We'll get money from you some other way. I would really want to drive the point home that this is really thought to be seamless for you guys. The content that you add into the knowledge base gets added to the index and becomes available for the AI without you having to do anything else. Like you don't have to go and do any training. You add your content, you enable those articles, and we'll automatically make them available to the AI. And like the team has been saying that can be things that are specific to you, but it can also be if you want to change content from an article that the Extendly content team put together, you do have the ability to customize the knowledge base to your content in the paid plans. So if you want to expand on the content that we put in there, you can also do that, and the same thing. No additional work needed. Just customize the content, expand it, hide some content, and the knowledge base in the AI that gets trained from that knowledge base will automatically follow that content curation that you're doing.
Thanks, Serge. I'm sure people are going to be wondering about this, which is when do I get access to it? So, just so everybody, so I can set the stage for everybody on this. So we're planning on doing a full transition in October. This is going to be an incremental transition, meaning we're not going to do all of our accounts at once. We're going to be over the next few weeks moving, batches of accounts over at a time. That way, we can just make sure that everything's stable and all that kind of stuff. And that being said, the first people that we're putting in line are the people that are okay with there being a little bit of chaos in their lives, right? So if you want that to be you, if you're the type of person that goes and stands in line for the new iPhone overnight, right when it comes out, you can email Chris. His email address is on the screen here, and we can figure out a way to get you get this enabled in your account earlier. We just want anybody that's kind of at the front of the line to be have an open feedback loop with us, so that way if there's any issues going on or anything like that, we're aware of them and we can fix them for you. So if we do for some reason encounter any roadblocks this month while we're rolling this out, we'll of course pause the rollout and just extend it a little bit so we can fix whatever we need to fix. But so far, we've been doing a lot of testing, and we haven't seen any major issues come up. So we're pretty confident at this point in time, but we also realize, that unexpected things can happen. For example, yesterday, Google's main AI model was down almost the entire day, which you wouldn't have thought would be one of the things that you have to encounter. But we're glad that it happened yesterday, so we can plan for workarounds like that. With that said, we're going to move on from support AI and talk about just a few other things that are new over the last month. So we've been talking about this in the last several town halls. I'm very excited about this. You will now see this in your account. This morning, we pulled down the feature flag for everyone. So you'll see the conversations dashboards now in your account. And so there's two kind of little blocks on the conversation dashboard. One is, which is the one that you're looking at right now, which is the AI agent metrics dash. So this is essentially your support AI messages, the total number of messages and the total number of conversations. You can also see some math that we've done down below, which is we're pulling real numbers from our own costing methods that we use on how we calculate the expense of support and all that kind of stuff to show you how much time and money you're saving by the AI being turned on inside of your account. So just as a note on this, before we move to the next slide, this rollout for the dashboard is happening at the same time that we're rolling out the new AI, as you can imagine. And so the metrics that are going into this dashboard right now are not yet actually from the new AI. They're from Support AI V1. So this month, when we finish the rollout, we'll be linking up the metrics for the new AI to this dashboard and replace essentially the metrics from the old AI once the full transition happens. So, and then you can go ahead and go to the next slide, Zach. So this is just another section on the dashboard. And so for any of you that have Extendly managed support or human rollover, you'll be able to see the human rollover metrics here, which is just the total number of rollovers that have happened within a period of time, and the same metrics down below in terms of what you're saving and all that kind of stuff. You'll be able to see what the average wait time was during that duration of time, and what the CSAT score is, and the average duration of those chat conversations. So this is now live for everyone inside of their accounts. And then we can go to the next one, Zach. So just a quick over of what's coming up soon. We've covered, a few of these things have been coming up soon for a little while now, but if you're new to the town halls, you might not have seen it. So I'll go ahead and dive into what we're working on right now. So go ahead and go to the next slide, Zach. So I saw in the chat already that a few of you were asking if you'll be able to see your AI discussion history. And so the answer is yes. We're working on these views right now. And so here shortly, you'll be able to see all the conversations that the AI's had with every single one of your customers. And you can go to the next slide, Zach. And then same thing with human discussion history. Now, I wanna say on this that we'll be rolling out human discussion history first before the AI history. In the spirit of trying to get value to you sooner, because of the new support AI, the history will just be delayed a tiny bit because we're prioritizing getting everybody on the new support AI. And then we'll link it up to this history view, and so you can see all your conversations with the new AI. But we're really doing a hard push here to get the human discussion history out to you sometime in the next week, if possible. So, sorry, Serge, I just said that out loud, but that's that's the hope. But anyways, moving on to the next slide. Let's flip it over here. And Chris, I'll hand it over to you to talk about the SOP stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are streamlining the way that we acquire our human support SOPs. Previously, we were using a bunch of disconnected platforms, and it was the back-end process and the visibility from you to your own SOP information was very disjointed and disconnected. So we're consolidating everything to ExtendlyOS. Inside of your settings of your account, you will now see a new section for SOPs. You can click on that and we'll open up a form that you will see in this. You'll see it's being filled out in this GIF here. So you fill out this form, hit submit, and it immediately creates a new knowledge base space that is untouchable. It's read-only, and that space is also queryable by our support AI, the V2 AI. And it has all of the SOP information that our agents need on all sides here at Extendly to be able to properly take care of your clients and any situations that we encounter that need to reference the SOP information. And that's essentially it. It's really simple. Just go to settings, click on SOP, fill it out, and then you have the space in your knowledge base that you can review, and you can make updates to this inside of your own account at any time. Just go back to the form, change what you need to change, and it'll update in real time. So no more having to reach out to our customer success team or reach out to support to update your SOPs. You can now manage and stay on top of that all on your own within the ExtendlyOS.
One thing I will say on that, and Chris, if any of this is inaccurate, feel free to correct me here. But
Sure.
So for everyone that's an existing customer here, who is probably most people on this call, we recognize that you've already been through an SOP flow. You would have went through this flow when you onboarded into managed support sometime earlier in your journey. And so we went back and forth between should we try to migrate old SOP information? Should we try to recapture this information? And where we've landed at this point in time is we think it's a good opportunity to do a little bit of a refresher on SOP information for our customer base. So if you don't see this link in your account yet, the reason why is because we have it hidden from you, essentially. And the reason why we're doing that is because we're going to be working with our CS team to essentially reach out to you and kind of go through that process of kind of refilling out your SOP information again. And to Chris's point, one of the main values of doing this, there's two. So the first one is Now the AI is going to be able to ingest your SOP information and discuss it with your customers. The second one is you'll see it directly in ExtendlyOS now and be able to make changes on it without essentially needing to reach out to us to make changes to it. So we want to get all of our customers on this, but we know it's going to take just a little bit of time to get everybody moved over the new SOP system. So don't worry. You don't need to reach out to us and say, hey, I don't see the link or anything like that. We will reach out to you and make it happen. So
Yeah, we'll be doing that very soon, actually. So
And I think that there's two more slides, Zach, after this that we can skip. I think we already, or wait, no, maybe not.
yeah, I essentially talked about it, but it's just showing where the locations of the link and the settings, and then the knowledge base.
Okay.
Cool.
You guys, have we already talked about when it's becoming available for everybody in their account?
It literally, we're going to be rolling this out ASAP. I'm going to be talking with the CS team. We're going to get the plan to reach out and get fresh SOP information going.
Okay.
So any day, just be on the lookout.
All right. Awesome. Fantastic. I want to take a moment here and bring up somebody. His name is Dustin. Dustin's one of our fellow high levelers. He's also a client here at Extendly as well. Dustin, are you here? Hey, Dustin, what's up? There you are. Dustin, if you can unmute yourself, say hello to everybody. Dustin has a son named Kai, and I want you to hear directly from Dustin about Kai's story and how we can help him. And I'll talk to you guys right after that as well. Dustin?
Hey guys. Yeah, so I have a son, he's about 3.5. Came into this world suddenly and a little bit early at 25 weeks. He was 2 pounds, 2 ounces. Um, so kind of fighting from the beginning. He has since been diagnosed with quadriplegia, spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy. He had about 4 brain operations because he had hydrocephalus. We spent about 120 days nearly in the NICU going through different operations, different situations for a very long time. But that's led to a lot of therapies and just a whole new world that my wife and I have dove into. Our entire business, our entire life has been dedicated to giving him a semblance of independence and normalcy. And as surprising as it is, most of the traditional medicine things do not do remotely anything for him. Really, it's just maintenance. It's treatment like most traditional medicine. But there are many experimental and many state-of-the-art types of medicine, things that aren't traditionally covered by insurance that have really, really good results. And so that's what we really try and do as much as possible. He's currently in Utah right now at a 3-week physical therapy intensive. He does 4 hours straight of therapy, 5 days a week for 3 weeks. We do about 2 to 3 of these a year, each of them spanning from $10,000 to $20,000, not including all of his other equipment. And Mitch, pretty much all of this is out of pocket. And so he's recently had the opportunity to join in on some international studies and in some international therapies. One of them being, if anybody's watches Netflix, there's a movie called Luca's World. It's based off of a cerebral palsy kid that was able to go to India. There's only 2 of these machines on the planet. But essentially what it does is just reactivates dead brain and neural pathways so that they could be reused and utilized and trained for, speaking, for mobility, for different types of things that he's having issues with. And stem cell treatments. And so we have multiple of those internationally that we have planned for this next year. But with that comes a price tag. And so, as well as business is doing and as well as everything is going, this is our Lamborghini. It's a very expensive endeavor, but we put as much as we can into our kid to make sure that he has the best future possible. And these are very transformative, especially in his early years. They're time intensive or time dependent because of his neuroplasticity. And so this next year we plan on going down to South America for these treatments. And each of them has a price tag between $18,000 to $30,000 a pop. And so we know that with doing these 3-week intensives and continuing to get the equipment and the local therapies that he needs, we can't quite do it alone. So we're reaching out and seeing what we can do about doing some fundraising to make sure that he can, go to these different therapies that he needs this next year while it's kind of very time sensitive for him. And so reached out to Beant, and as many of you may have seen inside the group, he said, "Say less. What can we do? Let's join in on the competition and see what we can do about winning some things for you." And that's incredible. Beant here has always been say less type of person, really. Just what can I do to help, which is incredible, which is why we're here to support his company, and he supports us so well. They go hand in hand. So. That's just a little bit of our story right now, and that's where we're at right now. So I think Beant would confirm that you guys can partake in the AI challenge in the Extendly side, which he's dedicated to Kai's therapies, any of the potential winnings. So as many calls as you can make, as many downloads as you can make, and then we do have a page for him for private support as well that I could share with you guys if really just kind of word of mouth mostly, because we do about 6 figures or if not more personally out of our own pocket for his therapies per year. And so we're just trying to be as aggressive as we can.
Awesome. Thanks, Dustin, for sharing that. So guys, with hearing Dustin's story about his son, as you can all imagine, every father wants to do the best they can for their kid, to give them the best chances possible. I made this post in the group yesterday to help Kai win in this challenge. One of the ways we could contribute to Kai's therapies. If you want to go to the group and read about it, essentially my ask here is that we're gonna join in to the AI challenge, the AI contest that HighLevel has running, which it ended yesterday, but the usage volume counts up until October 3rd. So we have a little bit more time to turn this around and take the win and honor Kai with that. So my ask to you is one, make a phone call to this number, and I'll put it in the chat as well. Try out the conversational AI agent that we've built and spend time talking to it. One of the criteria is that there's usage that needs to count for the agent to be known as valuable. And the other is downloading the agent for yourself and trying it. And this isn't any just gimmicky agent. It's a real use case agent. It is available for free to everybody. And I've put in a Loom video here that kind of goes over how to set it up. The winning there is potentially $15,000 there that would go to Kai for this. You can download the agent from here, extendly.com/agents. And we've also decided to keep those agents available for free as a thank you to all of you for joining and participating in this up until end of 2026. Those any improvements we make, any updates we make to that will continue to go to you guys. So if you guys can do us all a favor, my personal ask, please give this number a call and download those agents, install them inside your agency account. There's also 2 additional agents that it comes with for your customers as well that you're going to be able to utilize. And if you have any questions, I'm personally here to help out in relation to those, to make sure you have the best experience with that. My only ask is that we work together to win this thing for Kai, and he gets the best shot at the therapies.
By the way, when you guys give the agent a call, just like ask it all sorts of weird questions. Just be like overly verbose with it, so that way you can rack up the minutes. You know what I mean? Just rack up the minutes as much as you want. You can ask it about the weather and all. You know, it's gonna not answer those questions, but you know, just try to think of weird questions to ask it.
Yeah, and it'll serve as good training on the back end as well for us to take a look at and how to continue to improve those agents as well. So I appreciate everybody, and Dustin, thank you so much for sharing that here.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for giving me the platform. Definitely. His journey is never going to end. So if you want to follow along, feel free to follow me. We have an Instagram page for him. It's his smile is contagious. So if you need to brighten up your day anytime, as you can see from the pictures online. Thank you so much, guys.
Awesome,
All
awesome. Really appreciate it, Dustin.
Mhm.
We'll go back to our regular scheduled programming here. Tiana, are you on the call right now?
Yes.
Yeah, I see you there. Perfect. All right, we'll jump into our white label knowledge base updates.
Awesome. So kind of like Chris was saying before, what we do in the knowledge base is keep our knowledge base up to date with all of GHL's changelog updates. In the last 30 days, we've got 23 new articles and 101 updated articles. If you've been on this call before, you also know that as we update these articles with new content, we also update the QA pairs as well. And in the last 30 days, we've got 22 news and announcements posts. So these also come from the GHL changelog as well.
Awesome, awesome. And then jumping into some managed human rollover pieces. So, eventually this will be connected within your dashboard as well too, so you guys can see some of these stats as well. Some of our key focuses for our team this month have been definitely GHL AI features. This ties into some other offers that that are coming up in the future, but also just making sure that we're up to date with any changes that are coming up from GHL, which is significant, as you can imagine. And then just time to enter chat. So we saw a pretty solid improvement over the last month with time to enter chat, getting a quicker response, and specifically just having less people that do leave the queue. That's the big one, making sure we get to people as soon as possible, even during those spike times. Going into some of the stats, we're at 95% CSAT. We were at 94 last month, so a 1% improvement on that. And this is with say pretty high volume. Last couple of months, the team's been working really hard. As for first response time, it's been 57 seconds, so pretty consistent over the last year, really. For ticket response times, and this is where I can be honest with you guys. Obviously, we're being honest about everything, but not every stat is always getting better every month. We have down months. This would be a down month for tickets, and I'll say that from first response, we moved from 91% to 84%. Teams working really hard at this. You guys can imagine the downstream effects of when there's, like, for instance, a bug in high level. If there's a bug in our system as well too, whatever it may be, we have real people to answer those. Obviously, none of that's AI or anything. So, definitely was a bit of a tougher month, but the team's working really hard to have a bounce back month on that. And that's across the board. Fortunately, the resolution didn't drop too much. Just that first response time was down a little bit more than we would like. And then finally, with managed onboarding, some key focuses have been AI training. I think we've had that for the last few months. It's honestly been a major focus here, especially being able to use different agents, focusing specifically on conversational AI, voice AI, and review AI. We did just offer a 3-credit option for folks. So previously, you would have seen a minimum 5-credit option that you could purchase. If you guys are interested in using our white label onboarding services, you can now continue on with 3, and you can recharge with 3 as well too. So just to help a little bit more with cash flow on that end. Of course, you guys can recharge with more. It is a little bit cheaper. I think it gets down to $99 in onboarding if it's at $25 each. And then we've had next day availability available for a little bit. A lot of the times it's even same day options as well too. It's a pretty unique service, doing our very best for that time to value for your customers. For anyone that maybe attended one of our previous workshops, we're practicing what we're teaching here, trying to get as fast as we can to, that time to value for your guys' customers. And then as September stats go out, had a little bit of a drop, nothing to be worried about though, but we were at 90.9% on the CSAT side. We try to always keep it above 90, so just above it, but a little bit of work to do on the team this month as well, for sure. And as always, we're obviously not done. ideas.getextendly.com. It's fine for a managed support. It's fine for ExtendlyOS as well too. We really want to hear this. We read your guys' feedback consistently. This is how all of these ExtendlyOS features have come out. This is how we improve on our managed support as well too. So please, please, please be loud in there. I think that's everything. Unless anyone else on the team wants to add any other items, but otherwise we can jump into Q&A. Melissa's first to jump up with a hand. Maybe we can start with that.
Yeah, just getting into Q&A. And I missed it. I missed last month's thing. What's up with nudges? I was trying to set a nudge and I couldn't. Where are we at with that?
Are they still behind a feature flag, guys?
I'm sorry, Melissa, will you repeat that?
Nudges?
Nudges.
Oh, nudges. Yeah. So we have, so we pulled we ran a few users through the test of nudges for announcements. And what we were seeing was a few experience related issues in beta testing where basically all of the announcements would stack up. So for example, let's say you turned on like a nudge for 2 or 3 different announcements and someone was logged out of HighLevel, and then they logged in and basically they all just stacked on top of each other, and they had to close and then close and then close and then close. So it was a pretty like pull my hair out type experience. And so we're trying to figure out what the best way is to handle that from a user experience perspective, but we don't have a solution just yet. So the short answer is it's going to take a little longer for us to figure out exactly how to make that work. I wish I could tell you that we could push it out right now, but we're not quite ready yet. So
Thank you.
Yep. And one last thing I'll say just quickly, Melissa, is so the smart pop-ups are still available on the web widgets. I'm saying that because I know you have some experience using formerly the ChatHQ widgets. So nudges is across the board is going to be a replacement for those, and just with a better experience. But you can continue to use those as you have been, and we're not planning on pulling those away until we have nudges as like a full replacement. So.
And to add to that, I just want to say the team's very careful when releasing features. We don't practice the skateboard model here because we get hit pretty hard if we do, and so it takes a lot of a slow approach, beta testing, letting users in, seeing the experience before it's fully released out widely to everybody. And we much rather do a slow rollout of things and take our time. Zach and Serge and the team are just absolutely against that model. In our standpoint, it just doesn't help our case being a support company. So HighLevel and others can definitely run with that. It's just not something that we are comfortable with. Charles.
Anybody else got anything?
If Rob's got a hand up, do we want to let him go
I got a
first?
whole list here, so by all means, let Rob go first.
Yeah. Rob, you are up,
I
sir.
mean to cut in line, Charles, but I have one question. I've seen a platform, another platform out there that has a really cool technology where the AI bot on the website actually starts the conversation without somebody having to click on a widget or instigate anything. Is that something anybody has talked about doing, or is that something that's maybe in the future, or any thoughts on that? Because I think it's a really cool way to get things going, and actually it makes a clever conversation to start things off. It scrapes the website and comes up with kind of a funny introduction.
Yeah, we have been planning for that, Rob, with the so there's kind of a longer answer and a shorter answer to that. But I'll give you the shorter answer first, which is we're planning for that with the nudges release, which Melissa was just asking about a moment ago. There is a something that has to happen first, which is us essentially rebuilding our widget UX, which we're doing right now. Once we do that, once we finish that project, the um, the chat space where all the chats happen, they'll have their own little area to live. That is the case right now in the HighLevel widget. So meaning the widget that you use inside of HighLevel with ExtendlyOS, you'll notice like there's navigation tabs at the bottom, and there's a home tab and there's a chat tab and a knowledge base tab. But the web widgets currently don't have that navigation structure. So the first thing we're going to do is add that navigation structure to the web widgets. So that way there's an area where the chats specifically live. And then when we release the nudges, there's a certain type of nudge, which we call a popover. And that popover style is currently available as a smart pop-up on the web widgets. That you can use right now. It kind of like makes it look like a little message pops up above the widget button. And so you can do that little style of popover right now, actually. The problem is you can't pull people from that popover into a chat. And so that's the part that we need to close the gap on. So anyway, so the short answer is we're planning for it. You can do kind of like half of it right now, but not the full thing. But we totally agree that that's like an awesome experience, and we're hoping to be able to do that. So.
And the second part of that question is the same platform. They built it where you can put in, where the bot actually can sell your services. You can put in your domain and it will actually scrape the domain, figure out what the business does, and shows an illustration of that bot kind of overlooking their domain. Which I think is brilliant as well. The platform itself, the company, I'm not crazy about, but the platform is pretty badass, and it really is over your website, and it has a conversation regarding your website. Is that something that's doable down the road as well?
Well, that sounds like a prime candidate for the ideas board. We would love to see what you're seeing. We would love your insight. So I definitely put it in ideas.extendly.com. The more details you can give us and, like make a case for it. And we are looking for this type of feedback from you guys.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, that just so like this idea doesn't go poof and go into the abyss of ideas, so to speak. It's a really good idea. I would just pop it in the ideas board. And by the way, in there you have the ability to like add screenshots and stuff like that too. So if you are thinking of a particular platform and you're like, oh, I love the way that they handle this, like it just looks nice, it feels nice, like feel free to just screenshot that and put it into the idea, and that'll help us know kind of where your head's at with what you're wanting to do. But anything is possible, right? We can do anything. We just have
somebody else could do it, you can do it. So
yeah, if they could do it, we could do it. We try to use the ideas board so we can kind of prioritize what everybody what's most important to everyone. So
appreciate it.
Yep. All right, Charles, let's start busting through your list, my friend.
All right, can we go back to the slide where it was the GIF of the transition from transition to agent?
gets one over, it's still like there you go. Yep.
Is this what you're looking for, Charles?
Yep. Okay, so it's still, that was what I was looking for. So I know we've talked about this before. Is it going to be possible, or is it just not possible right now, given the third-party platform, to not have the transition in the UI? There's
Yeah,
still a
so
transition.
you're talking about like basically the live agent gets invited more or less like into that existing room, like into that thread instead of
It's right.
it
Instead of
transitioning
going
to a new
into,
thread.
yeah, instead of having two separate threads that kind of live on their own. Granted, this is a smoother process, but for me, it's still not there. Like I wanted to maintain the conversation, not feel like it's two disconnected conversations. I don't know if it's possible to pull, to send the input out and then pull that response back into the same exact UI so there is no transition. But in an ideal world.
It is. I mean, so I could see Serge smirking here. He's like, "What's that gonna say?" But it is possible. We've talked about it. I don't know exactly what an ETA for that would be, but I mean, we've talked about kind of different ways that we could kind of like handle the UX side of that, sort of like a room within a room, or like highlighting, the human discussion part,
Yep.
so that it appears to be a little different or something. But we don't exactly have a clear path for that just yet.
Got it. So leaving that for a second, going to when it does flip over here, you see all the previous conversation. It scrolls down. So you're loading the previous context thread or conversation thread, which could be from a month ago. You have no idea. Probably not, but it could be that far back. Has there been discussion about just putting it into a clear chat session and
Yeah.
not pulling in that history?
I'll take this one, and there's limits to what I can say because we're still testing internally.
Yeah.
But the UI that you're seeing in AI, so like the first part of this GIF,
Yep.
we do have an update to the human conversation UI. That's
Okay.
going to look a lot like that. And
Sounds good.
like once you get into Support AI V2, you get that feature updated. I don't know if you can see at the top of the widget, there's a little message bubble icon next to the arrow icon. So,
Yeah.
one of the things in Support AI V2 is that icon will show you all your past conversations with AI.
I
Like
gotcha.
they're neatly organized in conversations and threads.
You're pulling in conversation history into that icon. So I click
Yeah.
that icon, I can then go into any previous conversation. Love that.
Yes. And
One
then
thing,
just one more thing here. And then from the demo that Zach showed earlier, where he was showing conversation logs, there's a transition from a AI conversation to the human conversation that followed from it. There's a couple of reasons why we're keeping it like that. One, for the purposes of being able to report back to you, hey, how long did it take to resolve the customer's issue? And two, to like there's limits to what you can get out of AI with the current models. Like there's limits to like context windows and stuff like that. The more stuff you put into the conversation thread, the more it starts to degrade. So there's a fine balance between getting like being able to see everything and being able to report accurately on it and being able to keep the AI accurate, also not overwhelming the human agent that's taking over that chat. So there's changes coming in the future that are gonna go towards improving that user experience. Not
Okay.
far from what you're thinking.
I'll just
So-
I'll just quickly show you, Charles, just like so you can see where our head's at, and then you're welcome, obviously, as always, to provide feedback. But do you see here how there's
Yeah.
the AI conversation, and you've seen this before, I know, but you see
Yeah.
that little pink box?
Yeah.
So that the idea there is there's an AI just conversation happening, right? and
Yep.
then a thread with a human opens, and what it's doing is essentially showing you kind of like a summation of the beginning of that thread, and then like it's contained in another area. So to Serge's point, if we were to take this kind of approach, that would allow you to still see, okay, like human discussions have started like at different points in this thread, but we can keep the human discussion context out of the AI thread so that the AI's context window doesn't basically go crazy with completely losing track of what we're even talking about anymore. So
Totally understand. And on that view, I would hope that if I'm in the human conversation side, so if I'm going back and looking at human conversations, I can also go back and look at the AI because I may see it like, okay, this CSAT score was low, but honestly, the agent looking at the responses did really well. I want to be able to quickly go back and look. Maybe it was the AI that actually triggered that low score instead of the agent. So that way, there can be more of a blended matrix. I mean, Sergio
we were
brings
playing.
up reporting, which,
We were planning on that. You can kind of see, I'll let this GIF like reset here, but through the human discussions, notice that like view AI
okay.
discussion box in the upper right. So, and in a second, I'll
But this brings
click
me
on it.
to my next thing, and I didn't thank you, Sergio, for mentioning reporting because I didn't. You may regret saying that. But so now I also want to see time to resolution on AI side. Okay, if it's resolved on the AI conversation, that's great. How long? How long did they actually have to converse with AI to get that resolution? Would it have been faster to put them to a human sooner rather than later? And then, of course, we want the resolution time on the human side, but then I also need to be able to see the combined time. If they're starting in AI and then they're transitioning over to human, yes, the human resolved their query in X amount of time. That's great, but that only shows a part of the picture. It doesn't show their overall support picture of, I came in the chat, I spent 20 minutes with AI trying to get an answer, couldn't get an answer. Now I got transitioned over to human. I got the answer in 2 minutes. Great. They still spent 32 minutes in chat. To the
So
end
there,
user, that's how they view it.
there's so first I want to agree or align with the desire to have that. And the second thing that I'll mention though, and this is just more um a request for feedback more or less, but Sergi and I have discussed this at length, and so when it comes to resolution on AI, like Intercom does this, for example, and they have their own way of doing this with tracking resolutions on AI. So it kind of depends how we want to approach letting users interact with the AI. So what I mean by that is, when you start an AI session, depending on like, users' past experience talking with AI, sometimes they approach it kind of like Chat GPT, right? Where it's like they get in, they get out, they get in, they get out. It's not like one continuous conversation like oftentimes happens in live chat where it's like session opens, human is here for a specific amount of time, and the human is actively trying to get me out of the thread, right? Like our agents are constantly asking, is there anything else I can help you with? Is there anything else I can help you with so that they can close the thread out and go on to helping other customers, right? Now, we don't have to do that with an AI. Technically with an AI, we can let people come in and out as they see fit. Anytime that they're available, they could talk to the AI. And so it's a double-sided sword. Like that's kind of a positive thing of talking with the AI. The negative side is it gets a lot harder to track resolutions because when does the conversation start and when does it end, technically? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? There's not like a good definitive start and end point in the conversation. There could be multiple topics discussed. So that's the other question is like, you know, when you're talking with an AI, like in ChatGPT, you might like typically in ChatGPT, people will just keep talking, talking, talking until they eventually start to see the fidelity of their conversation degrade because the context window gets so high, and then they're just like, okay, I'm not getting anything out of this chat anymore. Like it's just getting confused about everything that I'm saying, so I'm gonna just close the chat. But you know, we could treat it more like a human discussion and like kind of force people, like force it to be like one conversation at a time and then open new threads every single time. Like there's different things that we could do. It's just a bit of an unknown, like how people interact with
Correct.
AI is
Yeah.
like evolving, you know, every week. So it's so anyways, all that to say, if you have, I'm in agreement that it would be awesome to be able
I
to
know it's a
track.
little complicated. I mean, for all the points that you stated. So it was just something that came to mind when Sergio was kind enough to mention reporting.
I definitely do not regret it. That is the way. That's the way that we're thinking about it, right? Like,
well, that's good. That's good.
we're a support platform. Like these things are important.
So going to context of AI, how it's resolved, one thing that I hear often from other agencies, I have heard in the past with clients, is that they don't, and we've talked about this in the UI experience in the past, is transitioning to an agent. There is no, there, historically, there was a call to action that they could click to get transferred over, understand the reasons from going away from that. However, what I'd like to see in place of that, I'm not asking for a UI upgrade in that sense, but more from the AI side, auto transition to agent. If it sees that the conversation is getting bad, it needs to automatically transfer to, it looks like we're not able to help you. We want to make sure that you're getting whatever the messaging needs to be and auto transition them into that human rollover queue, rather than them, you know, beat their brains out with the AI that they're just either they're not clearly stating their question. You know, it's not to say that the AI is doing anything wrong. It could totally be the customer.
We do have one leg of that in place already with the new support AI, which is like if it doesn't know the answer to the question. Now it's I will say it's aggressive to try and solve the problem for somebody. It goes through multiple loops of triaging. Like maybe they're
Right.
talking about something else. Maybe we don't understand what they're actually asking before it basically determines like, hey, it looks like I don't have the right answer to this in the knowledge base. And so right now the way it handles it is it asks them, would you like me to connect you with a human? It looks like I don't have an answer. Do you want me to connect you with a human? And they just say yes. So one additional thing that we've talked about doing that we could do is maintain like intent detection like through each message.
Yeah.
So like if it's starting to look like they're getting pissed off, we could look at like, you know, just transferring them to a human.
Kind of like a meter. Once it gets up so far, it's like, okay, you know, even if we are giving them answers, they've gotten, you know, they're passing yellow, getting to red. Let's just go ahead and transfer them, or at least present that option. Maybe they choose to stay in the AI. That's fine. That's up to them. But yeah, I mean, if you could track the growth of tone, and how that conversation is going through, um, you know, plus and minus based on tonality changes, get that meter to a certain point and say, okay, this is when we're gonna start popping a message, you know, put it right in front of their face. Would you like to? Um, that would be great.
That's a good idea. We haven't done that part of it yet, but we have been thinking about it, so that's good feedback.
Yeah. Linking to knowledge base from the AI chat, linking to articles. Historically, this has been kind of hit or miss. So, with the new AI improvements, with backlinking into knowledge base articles and deeper linking, possibly.
Yeah, we're not there yet, but we are harvesting the sources that the AI uses as grounding information, and we'll be making that available in the UI.
Awesome.
One thing I will say, Charles, on that is there are as with any, you know, LLM discussion where RAG's being used, and it's no different in our case, like there is certain queries that the user asks that require multiple knowledge base queries on So like if the user's asking to do something that touches like 3 or 4 different features in high level, like we might need to assemble 10 different knowledge articles together to essentially provide them with an answer that is uh coherent, where it's a multi-step instruction. So all that to say, to Serge's point on we're working on it, what we don't want to do is basically just give them a list of like 20 different knowledge articles that were used in reference to that to create that answer. So there might be certain instances where like if we used one knowledge article, we serve it up to them. If they ask for a knowledge article related to something, we serve it up to them, but we don't, just kind of like aggressively dump knowledge article links on them like every time that we do a response, because that would just get crazy in terms of experience. So we'll probably have some ironing out to do with that to like continue like trying to lean on the side of doing more references while keeping the experience tight.
Okay. You already said the custom knowledge base for AI is coming live this month in beta. In that regards, respect of agency versus sub-account permissions. So if I'm going into AI chat, I'm a sub-account admin. If I have an article that I have created myself that is set to the permission of it's set or flagged as agency, how is that going to be handled in the AI? Are those articles just going to be excluded from the AI? Okay.
There are 2 layers. There are 2 places in the flow of a conversation when the AI is generating a message that we exclude that content. The first one is, well, 3 actually. Like the master prompt for the agent very explicitly says, you're not authorized to talk about agency content to users who are marked as not agency. And like, there's a lot of prompting and instruction that are explicitly aimed at getting the AI not to talk about that. The second layer is when the AI searches the knowledge base, it passes the information about who the user is, including if they're an agency user or not. And
I
our
got you.
knowledge base system uses that information to exclude content that is marked as agency only in the knowledge base.
Okay.
The externally content team marks content as that. You can
Right.
also mark yours as well. And then finally, right before we send the message out, we do another pass where we have an agent look at the content and check that we're not violating any policies. For example,
Gotcha.
no GHL and external emissions.
Side note off of that, previously with the legacy knowledge base, there was the ability to have it so in save confusion. I'll call it V1, even though it's not V1. But in V1, ExtendlyOS, with the knowledge base, there were 2 URL paths, one for the sub account, one for the agency. Now I understand that we can add multiple users into the V2, but maybe there are scenarios where we just don't even want to give them in there. Maybe there's not granular permissions that we want, or whatever the case may be. Is there any thought of offering a URL path or
That's still the
separating that
case.
sub? It
Yeah,
still
we
is?
still have that. Yeah.
Where do
yeah.
we find it? Because I only see the one URL path
Okay.
on the white label side. So if that could just be surfaced in the UI, that would be great.
Yeah, Chris, maybe that's a good thing to take a note of. We'll need to do a better
I
job
thought
of
it went
surfacing
away
it.
because it's not in the UI. So when I set up the new white label domain for that or subdomain for the knowledge base, I didn't see that in the UI.
Yeah.
And then another thing on the knowledge base, I would love to see a button to submit update requests. So maybe I find an article and I just want to click a button and say, hey, I know HighLevel actually updated this help article that this is based off of with some new information. Maybe it was an updated release. We all know that there are things that hit the knowledge base that never hit the changelog. And so I'd like an easy way to do that, and where other people can contribute. They can put in a note, hey, this needs to be updated, or there's a new knowledge article from HighLevel out that this could be updated to align with. So, and it's just usually little stuff, but it's usually critical at the same time. And then on the knowledge base, here's the first thing that came to mind: custom articles. I love it. However, I also know AI and I know how people are. And it's, so any ideas around utilizing AI to help in writing articles that will actually make sense to AI? It's great if you can add your own articles, but if they, let's be honest, we've all seen some pretty horrible documentation. So that's where this comes from.
The nice thing about the way the knowledge base is structured and set up, compared to like a lot of other knowledge bases where they're connected to AI, is, without getting in all the technical weeds, like the most important thing in the knowledge base is to just properly use the formatting in the knowledge base. So like, H1s, and then putting like, all the stuff that relates to an H1 under the H1, and H2s and H3s and stuff like that. And and just like with anything else AI related, like trying to limit like redundant information in the same article. Like where you mention the same thing twice in two different, let's say you have two different H1s and you mention like the same thing. It's gonna, you just want to try to keep it well structured in that way. But if you're using AI, the right knowledge articles, and you're trying to figure out how to prompt it, just being explicit with it in terms of its use of formatting tags is the best thing that you can probably do.
I'm coming at this from someone who's going into the knowledge base and they're just writing an article. So my thought is, if you have the core set of knowledge base articles that you guys do, when I go to write a new article directly in the knowledge base, I'm not using AI to write it. I'm just writing the knowledge base based off of a piece of paper. Okay. More times than not, it's probably not going to be formatted right. It may also, there's a high likelihood of something being referenced incorrectly or by a different name. What I think would be beneficial is that if you can click a button, say improve article using AI, it uses the base set of articles to help understand and maybe swap out words like, oh, you're calling it this, but really in every other article that this is referenced in, it's called this. And so that you create that alignment in terminology across the knowledge base. Again, it helps the AI answer correctly, but then also helps make sure that the structure is there, assuming that they're not going to ChatGPT or Claude or wherever to write these articles. They're just writing them off their free notes.
That's a good idea. We've been talking about some AI tricks that we could put in the knowledge base to help people write. And
it may just need to be expanded on. Maybe they put one sentence and it's like, okay, well, we know what you're talking about. AI knows what you're talking about based on that sentence and the knowledge of the rest of the knowledge base, but it'd make a lot more sense if you put one or two more sentences along with this to kind of complete that thought. So just an Grammarly for ExtendlyOS.
Grammarly for knowledge base editor.
Yeah, because what I don't want it to happen is just, people writing articles and then it actually make the AI worse, and then feel like the AI is not working or the knowledge base is not working, and it simply be because the way the article was written or the limited information that was in the article.
Yeah. So a few things, like we don't have anything like this today. We'll definitely take it back and talk about it. We've been talking about it. What I can offer in the meantime is the way that we're moving in terms of reporting. We'll definitely surface this. So if there's a poor rating in a conversation, we will know the content that was used to answer it. I know that that's after the fact, and that's
I'm so glad you brought that up, because that goes right to my next question.
There you go. I know that's not what you're asking for, but just to illustrate that we're thinking about these things.
I get it. So conversations, love that you're dropping that in there. Look forward to the improvements and additional information that are coming. One thing that I would really like to see is being able to, on the CSAT scores, I want to be able to deep dive into it. So if I see, I want to be able to go in and find, okay, if I got a 90 or an 80 or whatever it may be, I want to be able to identify a conversation or an experience by CSAT and go look at that experience personally myself.
Okay, question there. Do you
Yes.
mean do you mean drill into the charts and then see the data that's behind the chart at a
No.
specific date, or filtering on conversation logs?
Filtering. So I just want to be able to click on that. So if my CSAT is at, let's say 93%, and I click on it, I want to be able to see all my CSAT scores, all my, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever, I want to be able to identify a conversation that made it. It's just like when your kid one day they've got a 98, the next day they've got an 87 in their. You want to go into the grading and see,
Yeah.
okay,
What happened? What's the change? Where is this
what
coming from?
actually brought this? Is it a bunch of small ones and it just trended down over time, or was it one particular one? Because then that also leads to customer retention. I can reach out to them. Hey, understand, just want you to know this isn't the norm. We're all human, we make mistakes, whatever. I can do customer retention on that side if I can identify an actual flagged conversation of like that's what triggered that to jump down.
That makes sense. So before you continue, this one feels like there's many ways to skin a cat. So, and I want to make sure that we're hitting the mark. I would really, really appreciate if you put it in the ideas work with that, like a brain dump of all the things that you've seen elsewhere that
Yeah.
made sense to you, all the things that you've seen elsewhere that did not make sense to you, and if you have any specific thoughts about, how you envision this, like, I
Okay.
really want to make sure that we capture like the nuance here, because
Yeah,
there's many
because
ways that
this,
we could do this.
yeah, well, and that kind of goes into, I want maybe if it's below X, I want to get notified. Because I may not go into there every day. Was a ticket generated? Is it a low score, but a ticket was never generated? Does that mean it wasn't escalated correctly? Like, where was the breakdown process? So those were just a couple thoughts. I'll put that in the ideas board. Also on the dashboard, ticketing. Are we going to get a tickets view
Eventually.
Okay. All right. That's all I need to know. And then on the SOP, one thing that I know agencies have done is they have started to build out some SOP items in the actual knowledge base because that was the only front-facing thing that they could control to put these things in for their end users. What I'd like to see to help a lot of these agencies out is a possibility of somehow importing from the knowledge base. So if they get to a section in SOP, if there's some way to because if they've got a process and like they've worked hard to get all this working, yes, they could go copy and paste. I just think it would be easier if there was an import from knowledge base.
Right. Okay. So this merits some addressing. The SOP knowledge base that we show you today that is fed from forums, that is intentionally a separate knowledge base space because that knowledge base space that has some SOP documents will be used by our human agents.
Right, and that's why I said the import.
Yeah.
So I knew there was a knowledge base behind it, but we don't have access to that knowledge base. So
you will have access to it. It is intentionally read only because
that's what I mean.
Like standardization in that SOP knowledge base will help make sure that the human agents don't get overwhelmed and that they stay focused. So for that, I would recommend if you have custom things that you want the AI to be able to use, definitely put them in the normal knowledge base. The AI will pick them up from there. If you want custom knowledge bases, custom SOPs, I don't know that we offer that to the exact. Do we have a path for agencies who want like custom things, maybe the enterprise tier?
I think it's only the enterprise, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I
Yeah,
know for a fact that we want to keep that knowledge base, that
Yeah.
SOP space standard.
Okay. Totally get it. One thing on that same note, I still think, despite that, I agree with you on that. It can get a little bit too much for the agent to be able to digest. However, there are things that I feel should be able to be flagged as absolute top priority. Like, if you don't see anything else in this SOP, you better see this. Now, in your form process and how you lay out that knowledge base for the SOP, it may not be at the top. However, there may be things that are just absolute for that particular agency that, and every agent's going to be a little bit different. It could be billing, how they want their billing inquiries handled instead of it being further down, or in a chunk of data, they want it flagged because there's no exception. It's got to be done this way. I'd like to be able to flag certain things in the SOP as like up top, first thing they see when they open that SOP. There's no passing it. I just think that would be useful on all sides.
That's good feedback, and Chris, feel free to comment if you want. The one thing I'll just say is with the new SOPs that we just launched, at least, Chris and Jonathan worked on restructuring those from the ground up. So overall, they're a lot simpler. Like there's a lot less information that we're collecting. So kind of our expectation, and again, Chris can correct me if this is inaccurate, but our expectation is that all of the things in the SOP get adhered to, which is one of the reasons why we shrunk them down by a significant margin because, as you know, Charles, like the last version of them, there's so much information in
Oh
there that
yeah.
it's just like impossible to really like you there that need. I'm assuming that need that you're talking about to basically stack rank like the priorities in the SOP comes from another problem statement, which is there's so much information in this SOP, like agents agents in the past would have a hard time mid-chat adhering to SOPs because they can't really read all that information mid-chat. So
Right.
we realized that we needed to really reduce the complexity of them a lot so that it was so that we increase the likelihood that the adherence is much higher. I don't know if you want to add on to that,
Well,
Chris, but
there's also another side to the SOP aspect, and that is in the agent being able to retrieve the information. Whereas before they would have to like open up a whole separate SOP document, scroll through, maybe have like a table of contents they could click on to get to a specific section. But with the new approach, we can actually put this information closer to the agent, even inside of the chat itself, right there where they don't have to go anywhere, and can even enhance that through like maybe a query search where they can type in a keyword and it just reveals to them the details that they need to see to reduce them having to go manually find and dig through even a simplified version of the SOP. If we can deliver relevant content faster, more streamlined to the agent and reduce their friction to finding what kind of information they're looking for, then we can start talking about maybe adding a little bit more to the SOP itself because it's easier for them to retrieve what they're looking for and not get lost in digging through a massive amount of information. But since we don't have like quite the execution to give them the information in that manner, reducing or simplifying it to the most critical aspects that they're going to see more often than not helps them to actually be able to search through an article and find what they need. But I'm
Gotcha.
thinking in terms of like, all right, this is just like stage one. Like this is just getting SOPs to a place where agencies can quickly update them. They can see it. Our agents can get to exactly what they need at the most base level. And then how do we start delivering that information to the agents in much more effective ways, even leveraging AI in that aspect as well, kind of like what we're doing with some of our enterprise clients.
I gotcha. Okay. Sounds good. And then I'd really like to say I've asked about this before, and I love that you guys show, all the benefits of using onboarding and support in these town halls. You've done webinars around it. However, and this was mentioned recently, I would love to see a funnel or a website template that outlines from an end user perspective, as an agency that is using Extendly services, what that overall benefit looks like. And that explains onboarding as it is through the perspective of the end user and the support, and that be part of that sales process or value proposition that is offered through an agency's website.
So like you're saying like on more the sales front end, so not like after sale,
If you
but
could
like
take everything
pre-sale.
pre-sale, yeah. So if you could take everything that all the advantages, all the benefits that and see every day through reporting, through reputation, reviews and feedback and everything else, turn that into, if you now took yourself out of your current seat and put yourself in as an agency owner, how would you share that with your potential customers? Because that's a big separator. Do I buy Apple because I love paying more for everything? No. I buy Apple because I know it doesn't matter what the problem is, how long I've had the product, I can go to Apple support and I will always get treated like priority. I know that. That's why I buy from Apple. It's a big separation between, if I'm using Extendly as onboarding and support, that is a big value proposition that I think more agencies should put out there for the customers to know. And it's another, recognition to you guys, because it's like, look, we launched this and now we've got people telling us that they're signing up even more people just because they're using our services. And we even, gave them the funnel to say, hey, let your customers know that this is the kind of support, this is the kind of onboarding experience that they can come to expect. And then, maybe you start getting feedback of, hey, actually, we were tracking about 2 or 3 sales a week. We installed this into our website as part of our, online sales process. And next thing you know, we've got 3 to 5 people signing up a week. We saw an increase just because of the confidence behind, we knew we were going to get support.
It's a good idea.
Good point.
Like it. Yeah.
So would love to see that. Onboarding, 2 things. The ability to, so right now there are 2 different distinct calendars for English and Spanish. I'd like to see a group calendar to where the user can select. Primarily, I'm English. However, I do occasionally have Spanish customers, but my process is rigid. I'm not going to change my process. I'm using the funnel. I follow the process. What I'd like is a way for them to be able to select or even know that Spanish is an option. Now, I don't ever run into an issue when it comes to actual onboarding. I think it's just another value add. And I know it's come up in other sessions, agencies even questioning if it was supported. In some of the webinars, we've had that question, do you even offer this? So if we could go to like a group calendar page where it shows, here's your English, here's your Spanish for tech onboarding, just a thought. I'm trying to think of the simplest implementation.
I'll bring that up with Zach K. I don't think that would be a problem. And
then there's been talk about, the legacy version is the onboarding funnel with the multiple surveys. And of course, there's workflows tied to each of those, to send reminders and everything. There was talk about transitioning the surveys over to ExtendlyOS forms, which I'll admit I'm quite concerned about. But because I don't know how I'm going to get a signal back in to remind them to go back to a certain point to complete the damn thing. It happens more often than I wish it did, where people get to a certain point maybe step 2 or step 3, and they're like, oh, I don't know that, let me leave.
There's two
Or they get
reasons why we haven't done
distracted
that
or
yet.
whatever,
There's two reasons why we haven't made that transition yet, and one of them is what you just mentioned, which is the notifications, and the other one is the calendar embeds.
Yeah.
And we won't actually make that transition until we have a clear path on both of those things. There's one that's also kind of tertiary, which is the custom value syncing. It's been drastically improved. I think it's down to like on average like 10 or so minutes now. But we still, as you know, we've had like issues with GHL sync in the past, taking quite a long time. And so that's another reason why we've just been holding off until we have that syncing process down to be really quick, and then we have calendar embeds and notifications figured out.
All right.
That being said, on the notification front, if you have any ideas on that front that you want to drop into the ideas portal, like for example, like there's just different ways, as you know, that we could do the notifications. So we can we could offer like a GHL direct integration of some kind. We could fire off webhooks. There's different things we could do. So like,
Well, speaking of webhooks, I would love to get a webhook on when a call is actually completed. Right now, that's a manual process, and updating the pipeline that comes with that snapshot, with the onboarding snapshot, it'll track it all the way through, except to that part. We have no idea if they've scheduled until we get an email notification. So then we have to go back to the onboarding pipeline and manually move that opportunity. Same thing if they canceled or if they rescheduled, or they showed and completed their tech onboarding or their training call. We have no signal, no way of knowing any of that except through email, and then we have to manually go back and update the pipeline. So if there was some way to do that, and maybe that could also transition to the next, evolution of this as it goes into forms.
I have thoughts
yeah, that makes sense.
on that as far as the implementation services that we're talking about doing, because it is possible to do a setup like that. And that is something I have done before. And so, I mean, that's something that if you want to link up outside of this and get something like that implemented, we can get that
Yeah,
done.
that'd be great.
But
Yeah.
even beyond that, I know we're talking about rolling out implementation services. I think that's a good candidate to go into that bucket.
Yeah, that would be. We do need to figure that out, Chris.
Because it also rolls out to, like, I think about the policy that was last launched, I think July last year. It's crazy that I even remember that. But when on the 24-hour, minimum 24-hour reschedule, cancellation, no-show policy that was rolled out for onboardings, we implemented the same policy at my company level. However, I have no freaking clue. I have no way of keeping track of it. I want to charge them because, I mean, we put it in, we customize the onboarding funnel so they see that it's right in front of their face. Look, if you don't show up or cancel and it's shorter time than 24 hours, we're going to charge you. Otherwise, it's free. Just show up at your scheduled time. We won't charge you anything. If you waste our people's time, we're going to charge you money. But I have no way of doing that. So that's, I just respect their time very much. The other thing, smart pop-ups and nudges, I will say I greatly favor smart pop-ups versus nudges. I don't like that nudges are tied to articles. I like the functionality, but I want them to be able to disconnect.
That's what you've seen today. There's a lot more to nudges. So don't let that deter you from loving them. Nudges are going to be everything smart pop-ups are and more.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the big thing. I really would like to see. I've been waiting, and I guess it's not going to come. But I wish what was available for smart pop-ups in widgets was available in the Extendly widget. I
Yep.
wish you could just turn on that feature flag right now, because the one thing that I do like is the ability to pop certain things, reference certain things where they're at in the platform. And I mean, Sergio knows I had every freaking page built. I still got it in one of the widgets. I had
I
like,
know.
80, 100 different smart pop-ups built for different places where they were at in the platform based on their first time visit to that section. And that way I could just make sure that they had quick and easy access to the knowledge base or training center or whatever I was offering for that particular section of the platform. And it just created a much better
I know.
utilization of the platform.
There's no reason it should need to be that hard. We'll make that use case that you had easier for you.
Well, I didn't mind it, but
Yeah, we're gonna have templates when we do it here at some point, Charles, where you'll be able to we'll have the knowledge team working on smart pop-up templates that connect directly to knowledge articles in the knowledge base and everything that you can render on, like, like first time visit to a specific high level route and that type of stuff. So essentially kind of like returning some of the functionality that we used to have with the onboarding guides,
yeah,
but more integrated, like directly into our our knowledge base, and just using the smart pop-ups directly to as like the delivery mechanism, specifically the banners. But people could take those templates and customize them how they
Right.
want, if they want to use like a modal instead of a banner or whatever. So
I just want to be able to use regular expressions. I'm just kidding.
Well,
Sergio's like, "Are you nuts?" He's like, "That was the biggest complaint." No. The last thing is the Academy for High Level. What is the plan? What is the plan? Would they? I'm not worried. I'm not worried about the client side. Um, I'm more concerned about the agency side. The Academy for High Level on the agency side. What is it just done, over with? Maybe sometime next year we might look at it again, or really haven't even
So
thought about it. Whatever the answer is,
no, I can I'm gonna preface what I'm about to say with the ETA on this is probably like there's a bigger fish to fry before this comes, with the widget and the nudges and the support AI and everything that we've talked about all the way up until this. But so the the problem statement I'll say first, which is there's obviously the high level certification program. There's also now AI. There's also, we have obviously a huge knowledge base on high level knowledge. And there's also the case of, every agency being a little bit different. And so from my vantage point, as far as like the new evolution of the academy in the future, what it looks like is um, first of all, using our own knowledge base as like the source of truth for actual high level related information, and then the second thing being that we use AI to create curated learning paths both for agency side and client side. So if the agency's use case is like, hey, we're an AI agency, like the scope of the work that we do for clients is using AI employee, and we need all of our team members to be completely looped in on that stuff, as well as, whatever it is else, like the SaaS configurator, as well as funnels. So there's different things, but the plan is, from my vantage point, that user, whether it be agency user or white label user, can just basically say, like, this is my problem statement, this is what I want to learn, this is what I want the outcome to be, and then we leverage AI over our existing knowledge base to say, okay, cool, based on what you've said, it looks like this is what the learning path should be for you specifically in your use case. and then we just construct that learning path in real time using like the existing tools at our disposal instead of what was happening before, which is more or less we were sort of maintaining two separate knowledge bases, if you think about it, because we had the
Right.
academy, we're putting all the information in the academy using high-level courses, having to maintain that, and then our knowledge base, which is more or less the same information, it's just laid out in a little bit of a different way. And so if we can put some kind of user experience layer on top of the knowledge base that is, just makes like a curated learning path like a little bit easier and a little more sort of like I'm going through this experience of like learning this first, then this second, then this third. That's kind of like the idea there.
I get that, and let me throw another idea out at you, and this is just something to think about. um, I get that. It doesn't. I'll be honest, it doesn't help me at all for what I need. I'm hiring people. I need to get them trained on cores, and then maybe trained on particular things. As much as I don't like, but given that answer, I see the direction you're going.
Well,
So,
before you move on
but
though, like what's the disconnect on
well, so
like
here was
how
going to be
does what
my
I said not help your use case or like what's breaking down there?
because I don't want it tied back to the knowledge base. Um, I- because knowledge bases are good, but they're not. It's not training. It's information. Like it's not taking them from
Well, it doesn't have to be
zero or
actual
negative
knowledge base articles.
five.
I'm just saying
But
that's the source of truth. Like,
right.
imagine, so
But
like
I
the same experience
understand.
we have in support AI right now, where we
Yeah.
basically construct answers. Like, what if training could
But
build
how am I going
itself
to track them
dynamically?
through this? How am I going to track when they've completed it? How am I going to track their progress through this learning journey and make sure that they are checking the boxes and passing tests and they know their crap? That's but here was my suggestion is
A good
for
feature
those
request.
of those of us that need it, which I know there's more than just me. There's other larger agencies that would benefit from this as well. With the high level certified program, I would love to see, and I don't know if they will allow you to do this, it may go against their terms, but I would love to see you guys leverage the enterprise level of the high level certification program. And if I wanted every VA that I hire or every internal team member that I hire, I pay you for that seat, either as a one-time pay or recurring. I can choose. So maybe I just want them to go through, get certified, and that be that. I don't care about them keeping the certification. I just want to make sure that they hit a certain point. Um, or I pay you yearly, and that keeps them updated on the certifications and new courses that may come out, new certifications that may come out. Now, the upside to this is that you get more listings in the certified directory, possibly some more discovery of people. But it would be.
You want us to have the enterprise so that, like, why would you want to go through us for that as opposed to just doing it yourself because of cost savings, or what's the
Yeah, I think based on your volume of internal team enrollment into it, plus the volume of partners, agencies, you could negotiate a lower rate than I could.
that
And
might be true.
I would probably end up, and it's just, you're a premier partner with high level. So, it's so looking at it from trying to look at it from both sides, you can negotiate a lower rate than I can. You have the power to do that, and the bodies to do it. and to justify it. So even keeping that in mind, you could even, if you wanted to, probably still make money off of that cost and it still be a lower cost to me in the end, even with you having a markup on it. Because I'm not about
There's a
just taking and
conversation
not,
with HighLevel.
yeah,
So
I
if we
mean,
did that, you would feel like sort of what we were doing with the academy, like that serves, like
yeah,
us replacing that with this
yep,
would okay.
yep. Because they're going through a set program that I know every time everybody's getting the same experience unless they come in like, a year later, then it might be different because of updates and stuff like that. But I know they're all, the nice thing about the academy and it being one rigid process is I knew exactly where they were at. I knew they at least had this base level of training and education. Even if I needed to add different things on different parts, that's fine, but at least I knew everybody hit the level at the same time. And I could also base on how long it takes them to complete the course. Just because they pass it doesn't mean that they're good. How long did it take them to get through that? That's an indicator of how good or bad they are. How quickly they catch on to things or how long it takes them to catch on to things. Those are all, from a management and ownership perspective, that's valuable information for me to know and know who I need to keep an
Just
eye
send your
on
people
or
over our
levels.
way and we'll put them on chats for a little bit and then you're good to go.
Well, we can talk about that too.
We'll put them through the
Trial by
Extendly
fire.
new hire boot camp.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can talk about that too. I'm more than happy to have a conversation, see what that would look like. Because I mean, it comes down to, end user experience, agency experience. You guys know that. And it's a hard topic, training on HighLevel. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of ground to cover and hopefully a very short amount of time is always, except, that recipe it's a hard one to pull off. So that's why I wanted to ask about the um, academy because we were running every single one of our team members through there, and then it just wasn't keeping up. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good reminder that we probably need to also send out like an email about that or something, some kind of communication about what our intentions are with that product.
could also help you to gauge interest.
Yeah, that's
Gauge
true.
interest and strengthen potential conversations even more. Look, we tried this. It's just too far outside our wheelhouse to maintain. Here's a crazy idea. We've got all this interest. We've got people that have said they'll do it. Now let's make the dollars and cents make sense.
I still think that using our knowledge base and using AI that I could probably get you what you need with not even necessarily that heavy of a lift. But
Yeah, but I need this like 6 months ago.
yeah,
I get that, but I need it like 6 months ago. So
true.
that's my biggest, that sounds great, and it may be, better than anything else that's out there. I just can't wait on it. I'm drowning in.
The enterprise might be a good like stopgap in the middle.
Yeah.
We did have an enterprise subscription with HighLevel for the certification program, but we dropped it. But we hadn't at least I think we had a conversation with them about reselling it or offering it to customers, which they had shut down initially. But we, that's one of those things where we just need to carry it up the chain. And if that has some legs, then we'll see. We'll see the team here in a couple weeks, so we can always, just float it out their way too. So.
Sounds good. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for enduring all my questions. So we got through them all.
You, Keating, thank you for your questions.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I know we give you a lot of crap, Charles, about, having lots of questions, but we appreciate it. So I know you know it already, but
I know. Love you guys too. Chris, I'll reach out to you separately, and we can take a look at that stuff. So.
Yes, just send me an email, and we'll coordinate a time to link up and go through all of that.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Reminder before we go, the ideas board. We'd love to see your feedback on the ideas board. And not only your feedback, if you see somebody else post something that you would like to see happen, vote on it. It means a lot. It helps us gauge interest.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes, don't be shy.
All right, guys. Hope you have an awesome October. See you at Level Up, hopefully.
See you,
Later,
see you next
everyone.
year. I won't be there this year.
I know.
I know. Darn. I told my kid, I was like, I don't care if you're playing football next year or not. I am not going to be around. So.
Sounds
Oh,
good, man.
see you
All
guys.
right, cheers, guys.